Now listen to this.
Let me see what you can do. And then
There's a part.
Said, Mike, check this out. See if this one.
Did you hear that?
Bet?
Bet.
Did
you hear that? No. We sang Can You Stand the Rain to Biv when we first met him.
Right.
So
the New Edition Classic.
The New Edition Classic. So the bet is something from another cut, another part that we did. It was Badu.
That didn't get muted?
Badu.
Wow.
So you originally sang that in this part.
Can you stand the rain?
Luxury, we are back for part 2 of our deep dive into Boyz II Men and Motownphilly. Last time, we talked about the origins of the song. Today, we're getting into the good stuff, the stacked vocal arrangements, the harmonies, the lyrics, and of course, the slow jams that came after today's song.
And joining us once again is the man who knows those harmonies better than anyone, the group's high tenor and 4-time Grammy winner, Sean Stockman.
Woo! We're talking one song, and that song is Motownphilly, Back Again by Boyz II Men. I'm actor, writer, director, and sometimes DJ Diallo Riddle.
And I'm producer, DJ, songwriter, and musicologist Luxury, aka the guy who whispers interpolation.
And this is One Song,
the show where we break down the stems and stories behind iconic songs across genres, telling you why they deserve one more listen.
You will hear these songs like you've never heard them before, and you can watch One Song on YouTube and Spotify, so many places. While you're there, please like and subscribe. So Sean, let's pick up where we left off. We talked a bit about your early days in Boyz II Men, the concept and the beat behind Motownphilly, but now it's time to lock in on these vocals. Can you tell us how you and the guys developed the vocal arrangements for Motownphilly? Because it seems like a Herculean, what is the division of labor when it comes to really arranging the song?
Well, first we had to understand in our minds what Motownphilly meant to us. And to be very particular, Nate wrote the first verse, I wrote the second.
And paint the picture. Are you together in a room?
Yes.
You've heard the beat. You've gone away.
We're in Studio 4. We're in Studio 4
Okay.
in Philadelphia.
Are you working together or you kind of separate for your own verses?
Kind of a little bit of both.
Okay.
Nate wrote the first part, brought it to me. So, okay, I got it. And then I wrote the second verse. And that's pretty much, a lot of times it's how we do it. Like, we let one guy kind of get his ideas out.
Mm-hmm.
We might have an idea to throw, take that word out, add this, whatever. But for the most part, it's his idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing that went for me.
And you're starting for the beat that you heard and the title Motownphilly, or even just the concept.
Yeah, the concept and the beat.
Okay.
Like, the concept came first. Dallas played the beat. We wrote to the beat.
And do you have a melody in mind, or you haven't?
No, I mean, it's literally, literally alchemy. Like, it was like, we heard it, Nate's listening, and he just kind of, and he just started.
So he's doing them both at the same time. He's
He's kind of humming and,
Interesting.
kind of like how lyrics form, writes it down. And then, because Biv also wanted to incorporate ABC and Belle Biv DeVoe. So Nate said, okay, Boyz II Men, ABC, BBD, the East Coast family. He wrote that. Like, never skip the beat. Like, he's just going on his thing, as the great songwriter that he is. And he's just kind of like formulating what the song is about, basically breaking down the story in the first verse. He's letting you know what's going on, who it's for, who it's about, who it represents, which is the city of Philadelphia. So all of these things within the verse and the bridge. And we wrote the bridge together back in school. We used to dream about this every day. Could it really happen? Or do dreams fade away? Like, really just kind of putting ourselves into how we were thinking. Then we started singing, and they said that's really what happened. Like, when we started singing, people started to like how we sounded. So we started a group. And here we are. It really was
so literal.
It's utterly literal.
And you and Nate are sitting across the table just listening, throwing ideas out to each other and responding.
So we started a group, and here we, just kind of playing with ideas and kicking it just for you. You know what I mean? that's what it was. And then Nate and I wrote the chorus. Motownphilly, back again.
But verses came first and then the chorus.
Yeah. Like you know, honestly, I don't know which part came first.
Okay.
It was just more so like we were just patching ideas together, him and I. And just kind of say, all right, cool, that sounds dope. Yeah, doing a little East Coast. Like, you know what I mean? Like we were kind of having fun.
With each other, yeah.
Boyz II Men, going off, not too hard, not too describing who we are. Like, it is literally a description and a breakdown of who we are, where we came from, who we down with, how we got discovered in 4 minutes.
I mean, it's its simplicity cannot be overstated in the sense that, like, the Beatles never came out with this song. They never did, like,
we're from Liverpool.
London. And
They're from Liverpool.
We got discovered.
Liverpool.
That never happened.
We got discovered in Liverpool.
We're sorry to our friend Pete Best.
So, I mean, you know, it really was one of those stars aligning type of moments.
Yeah.
Being in that studio, immersed in who we were and how we wanted to represent ourselves.
Well, without further ado, let's dive into the vocals. My friend, take us back to that studio and these wonderful singers. Where do you want to start with this one?
It's long overdue, but now Philly's slamming. Boyz II Men, ABC, BBD. The East Coast family never skipped a beat. Nah.
Okay, so that was also thought about of trying to incorporate Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
You were thinking, how do we get him involved?
Shout out to McCary, because McCary was the difference with everything. He separated us from everybody else that was a group back then.
Having the bass.
He was a real bass.
Yeah.
Opposed to other people who try to talk like this. Like, he spoke like that.
That's
like
his regular voice.
That's his regular fucking voice. Like, when he would talk, the shit would rumble. Because he was he was really a bass. Like, so...
He was the friend you want to, like, record on your outgoing message on your answering machine.
100%.
Like, hey, it's Diallo.
Yeah,
like, that's not even my voice, but that's the voice I want going out to the world.
Yes, but you see how you had to... Like, that he just spoke like that. And that's what... He was the X factor. He was the one that really made us stand out
and
above
groups hadn't really
else.
had that kind of, like, bassy guy in the group since, like, the 70s.
That's
Well, there was some of that in the 70s. There was some of that in the 70s.
Mau mau.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm talking specifically about the guy in the 70s who would talk and be like, hey, girl.
Oh, like the Barry White kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a guy who came in and spoke during the song.
Yes, Barry White's voice was that voice.
It doesn't seem to me like it's enough. It's just not enough, baby. It's just not enough.
Michael McCary's voice was that voice. Like Melvin from the Temptations was
That's
that
what I'm thinking
voice.
about. Melvin from,
yes. so you know, he really made it, and we knew, because we knew what he was doing to the girls in high school. So we had to incorporate the you know, that.
Did you write those lines, the Philly cheesesteak line, for him to say?
Yeah.
He was
and all
like,
the
I
Philly
love
steaks you can eat. Yeah. Yeah. And Biv helped with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like, yeah, just incorporate. Like, again, the Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Another,
we're from Philadelphia.
a keystone component of Philly.
I had never been there before, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, South Street.
Yeah.
I know where that is.
South Street. The cheesesteak. You know what I'm saying?
You planted so many flags.
Yes. We let everybody know what was popping within the first verse.
I have to ask you, because it happens halfway through, this particular harmony moment.
Boyz II Men, ABC, BBD.
Yeah.
That is an unusual harmony stack.
Yeah.
I'm very curious how you came up with your harmony stacks.
We never thought traditionally.
Okay.
Like, we approach harmonies not by technique, but by how it feels. Mm-hmm. Period. It could be the weirdest note by itself. And we would go in and we would sing something that a lot of people in the booth would kind of like sit there, what the hell is he doing? Until you blend the other four.
First of all, who is singing this? Is this you and Nate?
Me and Nate.
Okay. It's just two parts.
That's
an
it.
Interval.
And when you play it with the music, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Boy, Boyz II Men, ABC, BBD. It's a blues note.
You're right that it is a blues. It's a tritone,
Yes.
which we've talked about many times on this show. This is this dissonant moment theoretically by music theory standards.
Yeah.
But in actuality, in
Yes.
practice, it sounds really perfect because it's unusual and then it resolves right away.
Right.
Very satisfyingly.
Yes. And that's purpose. That was on purpose too, because you can't hang on to that note too long or else it's gonna
While it's happening, it's like tense. And then you let go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just and it added emphasis to the names.
Mm-hmm.
Boyz II Men, ABC, BBD. So it gave that moment.
Yeah.
And then got off of it.
And that becomes an important moment as we go deeper into the stems. We're going to hear that again, but its recap is done with a modern production touch.
Yes.
I'm just laying the groundwork for what we're going to be hearing later.
Absolutely.
So, but, and are you the high note in the
Yes.
stack? Okay.
Boyz II Men, BBD, Boyz II Men, BBD, BBD.
Did you tend to be the high note consistently, or did it change sort of based on the song or based on the moment?
For the most part. I mean,
okay. You're usually the highest note.
Nate would sometimes do, because Nate's kind of like a freaking Swiss Army knife. Like he could go high, he could go low, he could go mid.
I feel like sometimes he's like straight, like alto, maybe even.
He's baritone.
Baritone,
he's like a baritone bass sometimes. He laid a lot of Mike's bass parts that he would then copy.
When we go out and sing in concert now, who does the bass?
Nate does. But a lot of times we don't need the bass because it's just the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes our vocals are in the box.
Okay.
So we'll have opposed to having background singers, we just had our own voices.
Got it.
Playing the backgrounds, and then we would play in between.
Uh-huh.
Like because the vocals are already there. Like if you ever see one of our shows, I'll throw in a note because the original note is already there. So I can dab. Oh, I'll just throw that in.
Jump on top.
And then everybody in the group does the same.
All right. Well, let's listen to the chorus, which actually begins the song, and then let's talk about it because many, many more questions to come about the creation of this important sound stack. Here it is. This is, by the way, all four of you, right? In this chorus?
Motownphilly back again, doing a little East Coast swing. Boyz II Men going off.
Actually, it's just three of us.
Okay, there's no bass.
Nope. Doing a little East, doing a little East, doing a little East Coast swing.
Mike's
That's
not
the
in there.
three. It's not in there.
Yeah. And you go between the unison with all three of you into the stack, back and forth like that?
Yep. That was kind of like our style in a sense of emphasizing one phrase, breaking off, emphasizing one phrase, breaking off. And it kind of gave each part its own moment. So now you're able to hear every word and every phrase clearer because we gave its own identity.
It makes the stack more exciting that you hear it briefly,
100%.
and then you don't hear it and you miss it.
Yes.
And then there it is again.
Yes. Like we come from a school of a song having dynamics and not sounding just
the same
one
flat,
monochromatic, monotone way. Again, another reason why music today sounds the way that it doesn't sound like back in the day, because we were very key on soft, loud, high, low, up, down, left, right. We occupied the space.
How can you use all those choices to make things interesting and dynamic?
Well, it's really just, again, that is more so about what we hear at that moment. Nothing should get in the way of anything else going on in the track, or else it's useless.
How did you know this so early on, given this is one of your first, if not your first recording moment? Is that something you learned
I just think
intuitively?
I think, and this is not being pretentious at all, I think this is just our gift. It was our ability to, because we were brought up in such an enriched city, listening to Gamble and Huff, the Motown sound, Jam and Lewis, Babyface, Teddy Riley, all of those producers who did that for us as we were listening and playing in the schoolyards and in the streets. They were taking us to school.
You were absorbing what they were doing.
We were absorbing.
Not just as listeners, though, but as practitioners. Since you were also vocalizing, you could internalize the lesson. You could feel what it was.
So you would go home after you're listening to something And because you loved it so much, you sang it
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And then as you grew older, your skills honed in more on deeper listening.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, I hear that now because I've grown a little bit musically. So you are able to break down things a little bit better. So by the time it took time, and then we all sang in choirs. So it was important for us everybody to know each other's parts.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to not just my part, I'm listening to the soprano, I'm listening to the bass, I'm listening to the baritone, I'm listening to the alto, second soprano, second out. So I'm hearing all of these. We're all hearing these things and saying, oh, this is what makes up harmony. So
the fact of you doing it, the fact of you singing it actively, it's sort of like in writing, I think like Hemingway and Joan Didion and all these writers famously talk about how they would take their favorite books and retype them.
yes,
And that's how you become
Yes.
it's a starting point to become a writer.
Yes.
Is to internalize the feeling of what these other things you like are doing
Yes.
and how they're doing it. And with music, you can do the same thing.
you become a clever thief
You become a clever thief.
in a sense of seeing or rather hearing something that somebody did and saying, okay, I heard that. Now I'm going to take that and then add this note. Totally different. And the piano, for example, or a guitar, any instrument that plays more than one note is a prime example of that. You play a major and you play a minor. It's different.
Mhm.
Then you play a diminished. Different. Play augmented. Different.
But each of those was just one note changing.
That's it. So a lot of times it's just those nuances musically. That's what makes music so amazing because it doesn't take a lot.
It
All you
never
have-
ceases to amaze me that we're working with 8 to 12 notes at any given time.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the way you're able to make it different is not just the notes you play, you change, but where you place it. And then how many times you do it or how many times you don't do it. And all those other, it's all in the mind of the creator.
And no small thing is the actual voice, too, of the singer. I
Yes.
think that's the most underrated thing. This show, we're all about breaking it down and we can find commonalities,
Mhm.
chord changes, elements, beats, 808s.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the individual voice of the performer, and I mean literal voice like you, the singer, Sean Stockman, but also the fingers of a Dallas Austin and the keyboard, the performances are as unique as a thumbprint.
And you're right. There are better people that can probably better articulate it better than I, but it's really about, and this has always been our thing, the group, I'm speaking on behalf of the guys, that we might not have been the most technically sound when it comes to, this is a, B flat 9 with a,
Doesn't matter.
it didn't matter to us. We just, okay, I like this note.
Mm-hmm.
In your head, you'd hear the note.
We hear it.
Yeah,
So, and we go, yeah, that's dope.
I love that.
Keep that. And then we will move on.
Your artistic instinct is far more important than any amount of music theory or, schooling, basically.
Street smarts
Yeah.
keeps you alive. And that's pretty
In so
much
many ways.
Yeah, in so many ways. Like you can be the smartest person in the room book wise. But if you don't know how to communicate your vision, your dream, whatever your idea is, no matter how smart book wise you are,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because no one's understanding where you're coming from.
I've lived it, brother. Trust
Yeah.
me, I've lived that.
Yeah. It's very important to know to know how to communicate. A lot of people don't know this story. Like when we recorded Cooley High Harmony, we went in to mix it and none of the songs sounded the same. They didn't sound right.
Mm.
So actually what sold 11 million records were our demos. Those are all demos.
Those
So
are
you
all
went
demos.
backwards to earlier mixes for
Yeah,
the final?
Like
Really? Wow.
that mix of Motownphilly was the demo. So after we recorded it, you lived with it for a while. It just had such a vibe.
Yeah. Chasing the demo. It's called,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
When I think about it, and from what I remember, it just didn't pop.
Mm.
Like it was almost too perfect.
Yeah, it's
Too
too
cleaned up.
smooth.
Yeah, and it took away the grit of what Cooley High Harmony, the little bit of what it had on those songs.
You can almost say in the too polished version of the song, not too hard, but too small, but too soft. I didn't land the plane on that.
Right.
Try it again. Try it again. It's a great joke.
I was with you.
I'm gonna say it just so we have, you know, you can almost say that the version that they had before the fun.
No.
It's never coming back. It's never coming back. You can almost say that one version of the song was not too hard, but too soft.
Yes.
Let's see that.
That's good.
We got it.
I like the first version better.
See? We like the demo better.
Yeah. I like the demo better.
We're chasing the demo.
It happens in real life too.
It's all organic.
It was authentic that
Yeah,
time.
man.
Then it got too polished.
Let's get to the pre-chorus because I think this is one of those moments where we get to build the tension in the song, and it's one of my favorite parts. Let's hear a little bit of the pre-chorus.
Back in school, we used to dream about this every day. Could it really happen? But the dream just fade away, yeah. Then we started singing and they said it sounds smooth.
A pre-chorus, ladies and gentlemen, is a component that bridges the verse to the chorus, which is called the pre-chorus. Something that, again, music these days are missing. It changes it, and it changes the song at the same time, keeping it the same, which keeps people locked into, okay, what's coming next? All a song is a 4-minute movie. So you have to keep people engaged in the song.
Do you remember the mindset and how this pre-chorus was written?
Well, it was like, okay, we told that part. The music changed.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do we say? Because we can't stay on the same subject because the music changed. So we have to change. So what else happened? Back in school, we used to dream about this every day.
Did someone say that out loud and the other one was like, that's it?
I mean, in so many words, like we thought about, like, well, what did we think about?
Mm-hmm.
What is this moment? Because we were trying to encompass the moment of being in this studio, working with this hero of ours that's in this heroic group of ours that we loved, rather. And it's a true story. It's based on a true story. Back in school, we used to dream about this every day. Could it really happen, or do dreams fade away? We were very much.
It's so direct.
It's really just how we felt. Like, man, we would sit and we would just dream about this. We would pray about it. We would like, man, it'd be so great if we just kind of just make this something.
But I think it's actually super on brand because, you know, as a person, maybe it's because I was still in school. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you set up Philadelphia so well and the Motown of it all, but then you're like, back in school, like, you're like, oh, he's in school like me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's just more of that. And we didn't really say it in the first episode. If you haven't listened yet, please go back and listen to it again. We didn't really talk about it, but you said that you and I, we were both influenced by like the Public Enemy and the Black Pride. Just being a good student back in those days was like our own little like mini revolution because, you know, we were not, even though there's a Z in Boyz II Men, we were not the boys in the hood. Like we were, in some ways, we were the ones who were like we were reading comic books, we were trying to get good grades. And like, that was our form of rebellion, was being a good student. So I'd argue that idea of like, you guys are dressed like you were in college. You're talking about back in school. Yeah. You know, like, I think it's all on brand for like the complete image that you guys were presenting because that's who you were. Yeah.
For the most part, we were pretty good kids. I mean, we weren't troublemakers. Like I said, we weren't stick-up kids. We weren't drug dealers or anything like that. And although we knew friends that were.
Sure.
And we hung around those guys.
I did not.
Yeah. But that just wasn't the route we took.
Exactly.
But we grew up around it, and we had, to put it plainly, bigger aspirations.
Absolutely.
There's a harmony part, which I had muted just so we could hear the isolated vocals. Let's play it and then talk about it really
I think
briefly.
I know what you're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
This is an important part. It's also a setup for something that comes back a little bit later.
Then we started singing and they said it sounds smooth.
Just that little harmonized moment. I hear Mike's back for
Mike's
that one, right?
in that one.
He's at the very
Then we
bottom.
started singing and they said
one
it
note.
sounds
Classic.
Yep.
Do you remember the moment where you decided to harmonize that line? Just that one phrase?
Well, it just made sense.
Because then we started singing. It was part of the storytelling.
Again, it really didn't. We didn't try to overthink this shit.
Is Dallas producing you, or this is all you producing yourselves for these choices?
And this is what a lot of people don't tend to understand. Not saying that Dallas didn't produce our vocals. You know, for the most part, he definitely did, but not really. Like, a lot of the stuff that we did, we were able to do it on our own. Like, we we arranged the harmonies.
The
we
harmonies,
arranged the vocals and who sang what and, you know, all those other things. Like a lot of the stuff, again, Dallas helped for sure. But a lot of people don't understand that we produced those records just as much as he did. and brought out the music that, you know, you hear from that album.
Let's hear a little bit of verse 2. Iconic moment of the song.
Live and direct from Philly town. We're rapping, hyping, we can get down. We are ready to go, so now the world will know that we flow.
By the way,
that was like such a 80s, 90s, like, because Aaron Hall used to do that.
Yeah, Aaron Hall, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that
you know what I'm saying? Like
okay,
he would do,
run.
you know, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like that was such
melodramatic.
a 90s-esque type of riff. So
It's
yeah.
from that period.
You had to throw it
Jam.
Yeah.
Oh, jam.
All of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Jam, Teddy, jam for me, yeah.
So that was a nod to
Totally.
Mr. Aaron Hall.
And I was hearing in the dum 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 dum. It's more explicit when it's isolated. That is definitely 30s jazz.
For
It's
sure.
like super
For
old
sure.
school Charleston era,
For sure,
right?
for sure. And that was slightly inspired by Take Six. Again, we did terrible renditions of those guys. They were aliens to us, but we tried our best to try to emulate as much as we could.
Take Six, by the way, they were kind of a gospel group.
They were
but I feel like they had a lot of crossover appeal, at least at Black radio.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of their songs could have been
totally.
that mid-range secular type
They
of
did
song.
You're the Biggest Part of Me. That's them. isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
In a song full of memorable moments, the vocal breakdown is perhaps one of the most famous moments in the song.
Mhm.
Let's hear that.
Maybe among the most famous 10 seconds on planet Earth. Known to all who walk
Absolutely.
this fair sphere. Here it is,
Okay.
isolated for the first time in human history.
Yeah,
Since it was done.
I haven't heard it in a while.
Everybody in the studio was singing along, by the way.
Yeah.
We're all going to be like, yeah, I sang with
That's so
Sean.
Mr. I was hearing a lot of like Mr. Sandman that time.
Yeah,
Like chordettes.
I guess you could say that.
Doom, doom,
I mean, we wanted to do something slick.
Mm.
And how about this? If you play the original record,
Okay.
right? Play the original song into that break. I'm going to show you
Okay.
something.
All right. Here we go.
A lot of people don't know this or even catch it, but I'm going to let you.
One song exclusive.
All right, now listen to this. There's a part.
Mike, check this out. See if this one.
Did you hear that?
Bet?
Bet.
Did you
Did
say
you hear that?
bet?
No.
What?
The original part to that section,
Uh-huh.
because that was the second part. We didn't originally come up with that part. We sang Can You Stand the Rain to Biv when
Right.
we first met him.
Right.
So
The New Edition Classic.
the New Edition Classic. So the bat is something from another cut, another part that we did. It was Badu.
That didn't get muted.
Badu.
Wow.
So you originally sang that in this part.
Can you stand the rain? That's what we were going to
Wow.
originally do. But
It didn't get muted?
didn't.
Just that one moment?
just that one part, no one caught it.
What?
And I always hear that and giggle because it's kind of like, you know, that was the
It's a
beauty
little
of-
artifact.
Yeah, it's a little artifact, a little Easter egg. But it was supposed to go badu, badu. So when you hear the
We just get the
bad,
ba.
that's all you heard. So
That's
so
amazing.
I thought it was just someone saying bet.
no, it was a bad, and the rest of it got cut off. And again, we were using 2-inch tape back then, so
It's harder to get that out of there.
vocals weren't seen on a screen.
Absolutely.
So we probably been able to see that back now and go, oh, let me clip that.
So
But
no one
mute
noticed
that.
it till it was like on wax and in the shops?
Yeah, because again,
Wow.
that's a demo.
right. Oh, that's right. You didn't expect for that to be what
Motownphilly
going.
was that was the demo.
More work was done to this, and then you're like, no, back up to an earlier version.
Yeah, and we just mastered the demo.
That's amazing.
And
crazy.
that was it. So yeah, so when you hear the bat, it was from another part or another idea that we scratched.
When was the idea then? Was it the last thing you recorded for this song then?
Pretty much, like because everything else was done. So we were like, all right, what are we going to do on this part? And so we just came up with a doom, doom, doom.
Did you decide to replace it so that it wasn't maybe, an interpolation?
Well, no, I think we just wasn't feeling it.
Okay.
Like it was just one of those things where we did it and it was like, oh, we don't like it. So let's just
find something better.
Let's find
do
something
our
better.
own thing.
Yeah. So doom, 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 da, da. Again, being Take Six fans, that was kind of like our interpretation of what we thought Take Six would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would Take Six do? You know what I'm saying? You know, that type of thing. So you kind of came up with our own version or our own perspective vocally on what we think would sound cool. So that was it.
What's interesting to me is that almost every, Boyz II Men song, almost every one of your classics, there's a moment where most of the music drops out and it's just your voices.
Mm-hmm.
That's that part for Motownphilly. Into the road, into the song, like the music famously goes out and you guys are just clapping and singing along. I feel like that's what you give the fans. You kind of remind us every big song, oh, by the way, we're singers. These instruments be damn, we are going to remind you that we're singing this song.
What people don't remember, also, again, the stars aligning, is when we came out and when we first appeared on Video Soul and BET with Donnie Simpson.
Donnie Simpson.
This was around the time of the Milli Vanilli scandal.
You wanted to prove that you were not Milli Vanilli.
Exactly.
Yeah. Makes a
So
lot of
it was
sense.
perfect. Like, we're not these guys. Because everybody felt bamboozled by that whole Milli Vanilli thing, right? So, and again, as you remember, that took up a whole news cycle. Like, Milli Vanilli aren't the real vocalists to this, this thing, whatever. So when we came in the scene, we was like, oh no, we sing.
Yeah.
So it gave more emphasis on the fact that when we hit it, and I had friends that around my same age that watched that episode of us. And he said that moment changed everything.
Yeah.
It made Black kids go, holy shit, who are these guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, so everybody started running out to their friends and say, hey, let's make a vocal group.
Yeah, maybe we did.
No, yeah,
Maybe we did.
No, and that's what it did. But that moment in music history wouldn't have been as, I don't think, as profound as it was if Milli Vanilli didn't do what they did.
You were such a strong contrast to such a big story.
Exactly. We were the
You were the
opposite.
opposite.
Control.
Mm-hmm.
To
CNC Music Factory had the
So
same kind of
interesting.
scandal. It was like the person in the video wasn't the person
Right.
singing along. I mean, like, we would be remiss if we didn't mention, like, with your success, you had, and this is not to say these are biters, so to speak, but like, there was an explosion in acapella groups, and acapella, like Shy came out. I mean, definitely, If I Ever Fall in Love was a hit of radio, and Silk.
Yeah.
You could argue came along with you.
So
Don't
much
forget
so-
Backstreet Boys and 98 Degrees and all those guys.
And
too.
so much so that when those songs, particularly the Shy record, came out, everybody thought it was us.
I definitely thought it was you
Because
guys.
we were known as the acapella guys. so it really...
And your label didn't think that acapella was going to work on radio, right?
No. Like, when we sang It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, rest in peace, Gerald Busby, who was the president of Motown at the time. We had a really great relationship with him. So much so that we could actually talk to each other like uncle and nephew. Like, it wasn't a record exec artist relationship. So we was in his office one day, and again, he was very happy about the success of Motownphilly. And we told him, hey man, we want to drop the acapella record second. He was like, it won't work. I was like, what do you mean it won't work? He was like, guys, there's no acapella songs on radio. Who's going to play an acapella song on the radio? And we was like, Gerald, trust us. And he trusted us. And he said, all right, cool. Let's just release it. We'll see what happens. And it went double
To hear
platinum.
Michael Bivins say it, he forgot the conversation happened, and then one day he heard it on the radio or something like that. He's like, oh, y'all got a hit.
Yeah, it is one of our most successful songs, like ever. And people relate that song, which is a cover of a G.C. Cameron record.
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
From the movie Cooley
From the
High.
movie, absolutely.
And And
Coolie High, from which you get the title of your
Coolie
record.
High Harmony, another concept of Biv, and he just felt like it made sense. If we're calling it Coolie High Harmony, let's sing the song that was the most important song of that movie. And that was it.
It's a big song. And I was saying somewhere on a dusty VHS tape is footage of me and my singing group singing that to a bunch of teenagers at Six Flags over Georgia. And we had that crowd going nuts.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to unpack the legacy of Boyz II Men and their record-breaking slow jams.
Cold mornings, holiday plans. This is when I need my wardrobe to just work. That's why I'm all about Quince. They make it easy to look sharp, feel good, and find gifts that last.
Yeah.
From Mongolian cashmere sweaters to Italian wool coats, Quince pieces are crafted from premium materials and built to hold up without the luxury markup.
Quince makes the essentials every guy needs. Mongolian cashmere sweaters for $50, Italian wool coats that look and feel designer, and denim and chinos that fit just right.
Their outerwear lineup is no joke. Down jackets, wool topcoats, and leather styles that are built to last.
Each piece is made from premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production.
By cutting out middlemen and traditional markups, Quince delivers the same quality as luxury brands at a fraction of the price.
It's everything you actually want to wear, built to hold up season after season.
Yeah, man, I've been wearing my Quince jacket all over LA. It's perfect because
you do wear it a lot.
I do wear it a lot. It's exactly the right, listen, it's a hot climate in general. We do get weird cold days every now and then, but I have this need for a thin jacket for rainy days.
Totally.
And Quince met that need. Exactly the right style.
Such a good point. Because it does rain sometimes here in LA, and like you see a lot of people just running. They have no umbrella. They got short sleeve shirts.
You need a jacket for that, but a specific kind of jacket.
Dude, you look dry and
I
ready
look
to
dry.
work.
I feel dry and I look dry, and
dry
I am
in the
dry.
best way.
Get your wardrobe sorted and your gift list handled with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/onesong for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/onesong. ONESONG. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/onesong.
Luxury. You got to come over our house, man. You got to see we are decorating. I came home the other night and like my house looks like a winter freaking wonderland.
Aw,
No, seriously. We have all kinds of cool decorations all over the place, lights, all kinds of new fixtures. We're also entertaining some family over the holiday season. So we knew that we had to get this thing together soon. Like we had to decorate. And what better place to do it through Wayfair? They had everything that we were looking for in terms of decorations, appointments, things for like the bath and the bedroom. They really helped us come through. The holidays are here, everybody. Get what you need fast with Wayfair.
From bedding and linens to decor for every room in your house, Wayfair's your one-stop shop.
Last minute guest prep, luxury coming over the last second. Refresh your guest room with bedding, throw pillows, and accent chairs for way less.
There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or your budget.
Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your home goals and gift lists with endless inspiration for every space and budget.
Fast and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, so you can get what you need when you need it. No more huge delivery fees for furniture. Get big stuff like sofas, dining tables, beds, desks, and more shipped free.
Find all your must-haves from furniture and decor to appliances and cookware all in one convenient place.
Get last-minute hosting essentials, gifts for all your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home.
That's Wayfair. WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to One Song.
I thought you were going to go one song. It was right there. You had it.
I should have done that.
It was right there.
If I ever tried it again, it would not work because as we know, sometimes you got to chase the demo. Welcome back to One Song. We're here with Sean Stockman. So after the success of Coolie High Harmony, you and the guys would be called to the studio to record a song for what I consider the second best Eddie Murphy film of all time. Boomerang, no shade, Coming to America.
What's the first?
Coming to America.
Yeah, it's classic.
Come on.
I can't argue with that so much.
But I mean, like, what an outstanding top two for any person.
No Trading Places, no Beverly Hills Cop. What's going
No,
on
those
here?
are in my top five. We don't have to argue.
Geez,
we don't have to argue again.
Unbelievable. All
But
right.
this was a song for the Boomerang soundtrack. And you recorded this with Babyface, the Grammy award-winning icon. And this song ended up winning Grammys. It's the slow jam End of the Road. And we were just talking about it. Let's watch a clip from the music video. End of the Road would go on to beat the record for most weeks at number one. It beat Elvis Presley. Hound Dog. It was at number one for 13 weeks. Did the success of that single change your perspective on the group's direction and what you thought was possible?
And yeah, we went from 5 million records or 6 million, which was pretty good, to 12.
Insane.
And that's pretty much how that happened. It was the song was so successful that they had to repackage Cooley High Harmony and put that song on the
Had to
album.
put it on there.
It reached diamond status because of that record.
I mean, I have to ask this question. Like, at some point, like, what do you think was the biggest concert you've ever played? Like, you looked out there and you're like, we are the Beatles. There are 4 of us. And look at all these people here. Like, what show stands out in your brain is like...
I think there was a show we did in Trinidad. I think it was 75,000 people. It's kind of a strange thing to be on stage with a crowd that massive because after a while, to some degree, it's like they don't exist because it's so big.
You can't process it.
It's hard to just give attention to everybody.
It's just a big mass.
It's
in
too
the
many
dark.
people.
Yeah.
So you're literally just kind of waving, hoping that people see you and you see them, and you're. It's great.
But it's hard to connect on an individual basis.
Well, yeah.
75,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, because I don't want to squander that, because it is a blessing too, to look out into a sea of people.
Wow.
And to know that they're there for you. I think the second biggest, from what I remember, and I'm sure the guys could probably give more examples, but I think we did Made in America Fest in Philly.
Right.
I think that was like 100,000 people. It was all throughout the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. People as far as your eyes can see. Like, that's cool. Like, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool thing, but after a while, it's less about the people and more about your connection with the music, because that's what people, I guess, are trying to see. So
I think they just want to be in the same space and know that, oh, that's him.
yeah, I think those stadium type shows provides a different experience than maybe a very up close and personal one. Like this one, I'm allowed to kind of, because I don't have to focus on the people so much. Like, I can just focus on my singing and my vocals and, that type of thing, and maybe acknowledge the person that's way over there.
Hey, blue shirt.
Right, because you caught eyes for a second. And
I love that.
That those experiences are great, not just for the crowd, but for us too.
Is your experience of these songs and singing them for all these years, does it change or evolve over time? Or does it instantly sort of transport you back because of the music has...
No, it's different every time.
It's different every time.
Because the crowds are different. Like, the crowds are different. The people's mind states at the time are different. They're exuding a certain level of energy, which permeates onto you and you throw it back. So you base things off of the energy of the crowd. We still give our 100% regardless, but the crowd is what kind of helps dictate what we're going to do for the crowd.
So it doesn't ever feel stale?
No.
After all these years?
No,
it's different every night?
No, there are times where I'm on stage and I'll go, man, I sure hope room service is still open. While I'm singing.
I love to know that you're still a human.
Yeah.
After all these years.
Oh, yeah. Like, while we're singing sometimes, I'm like, man, I could go for a nice turkey burger. Like, right after the show, I'm going to find me a place to get a turkey burger and some fries and a beer.
That is so real.
And watch SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Can't wait. But right now,
Got to entertain these 75,000
Got to entertain
people.
these 75,000.
74,999 people entertained. Wait, I have to ask you a real quick question. At some point you have like this string of hits, I'm Bended Knee, One Sweet Day. At some point creatively, did you guys feel like, as artists, did you feel like when you were starting work on a new album, okay, what's our epic ballad gonna be this time? Like, did you ever feel that pressure? Because I think it's just something all artists feel when something hits as huge as End of the Road and I'll Make Love to You and all these songs. Like, at some point, did you guys feel that? Or did you run away from, like, okay, we're not going to do a ballad this time. We're going to, we're just going to do us. Like, what, I'm sure you felt some pressure from a label to do that, but what was happening internally?
Ballads were just natural to us.
Uh-huh.
We loved singing or writing ballads. So it was never a chore necessarily to sing slow songs. What we wanted to shy away from was trying to redo End of the Road.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that was never going to happen again. We understood that. We understood that was a moment in time that we were blessed to have. Let's see where else we can go. As artists, that's where we were going. Like, let's not put ourselves against the wall and say, hey, we got to do another End of the Road. None of us said that. Like, we said, all right, what else can we do?
Yeah.
And we stretched our creative limbs and tried to find that. And a lot of what's successful has a lot to do with timing and with, I guess you could say, the focus of those who made your other records successful.
Wow.
Yeah, one hand definitely has to wash the other. Like, you can write a great song, just like you guys have a great podcast, right?
Oh, thank you.
You do. But
did you get that?
Yes. They have a great podcast.
Thank you.
But without the backing of the machine, it doesn't matter. Like, no
the
one.
machine being the label.
The machine being the label.
Yeah.
Making sure it gets heard. The great song.
The great song gets, And there are a lot of songs that I felt could have been on that level, but the labels just felt like they wanted to go another direction.
With the proper promotion, that song could have gone further.
I think so.
Yeah.
In certain, whatever, specific songs that I'm thinking of.
But I ask you, what's a song that you think we should go back and listen to again?
There's a song called Doing Just Fine. I'm doing just fine. Getting along, baby. That I wrote that I thought was one of the best songs I ever wrote. And it did well.
Yes.
But
I know the song.
As far as it doing End of the Road well, it missed by a mile. And I think a lot of it had to do with a lot of things. A lot of things that we were transitioning into as men, as now veterans, kind of, in the business, understanding things and our relationship with the label at the time and all that other stuff. That has a lot to do with the success of a song.
But you think that song's success maybe suffered from a lack of literally the money to promote it?
Yeah.
The attention?
There were things
bringing it to radio, whatever?
Yes. They were emphasizing on different things.
Yeah.
And it was less about us and more about other people.
Understood.
Sean, what do you think the legacy of Boyz II Men and Motownphilly is?
I think it will be considered one of the many storytelling songs ever written that encapsulizes an era of music. It is a signature 90s record. That's how 90s records sounded. And if you want to refer to what a 90s record sounds like, you can always go to Motownphilly. Like, I think its legacy is based off of what we did after it. That's what Motownphilly tends to be the keystone of who Boyz II Men became after that story was told.
Do you think that song, that Motownphilly, helped introduce Boyz II Men to listeners who may not have been ready for a straight up vocal group
100%.
coming out the bat? Yeah.
So much so that, and I've told this story before, there were radio stations that did not get it, didn't like it, hated it, thought we were corny, thought our presentation was corny, as whack, who these niggas in these bow ties. Like, no, I mean, we've heard this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that, they're cheesy, they're this, they're that. Like, reporters or, writers of magazines like Nelson George, who literally dissed us.
Nelson came for you?
He slammed you?
Nelson George came for Boyz II Men? I did not know this.
Oh, yeah. Like, there were times where he just called us straight cornballs and thought that we were...
Nelson said cornballs? Look, I love Nelson to death, but like...
Yeah, I mean...
that's a little kettle calling the pot black or whatever.
But, and it was because of the people just loving it, because they loved it.
Yeah.
It forced the hand of a lot of radio stations because they wanted to get in on that ad revenue. So they had to play the record and to the point where it was like it became number one in those respective stations. And, it happens. Like some people make the wrong decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, and some people have their opinions on things that doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I wanted to mention some of your contemporaries like Portrait, Mint Condition.
My guys. Shout out
I think Portrait's Here We Go Again is a fantastic song.
It's awesome.
It's a great song, isn't it?
It's awesome. Michelangelo. Shout out to Michelangelo.
There you go.
Like, I mean, like those guys, and this the beautiful thing about it too. It was great that era too, because we were all friends. All of us. Portrait, Mint Condition, Intro.
Tevin and the crew.
Basically, everybody you see in the You Will Know video in Black Men United, that was pretty much a real thing. We all got along.
Yeah.
We were all friends. We all respected each other. Because it was some singers in that motherfucking room. Like it was some singers in that room, including D'Angelo, who wrote that record.
That's right.
That's the first time I met D'Angelo, is because he wrote You Will Know, and along with Brian McKnight. So, it was, honestly, man, like the 90s was so pivotal.
So rich.
And so rich in music and sound and just good ass motherfucking singing.
Insane.
You know what I'm saying? Like
good writers too, though. Good writers.
Like it was so incredible. And I cannot say the same about now. Like you had a room of 60 men that could all throw, all of them, in some way, shape, or form. Do that here in 2025. I challenge y'all. Like I'm talking about popular sing. Like you might get 12 in a room, and that's it. And this is no slight. If anything, it is a call to action.
There you go.
To all of you artists out there that don't understand what I'm talking about. Like, just reference that room alone. When you had Gerald Levert, and you had, R. Kelly, and you had Tevin Campbell, and you had El DeBarge, and you had, like, all of these men who were throwers, bro.
Yeah.
Throwers. You can't fill a room in 2025 with a bunch of male throwers. You can't do it. You can't do it. And that's really that's the problem with today's music. You want to know what the problem is? Fill up a room with 60 hit makers, male or in a group in 2025. You can't do it, and that is the problem.
The musicianship you're saying, like actual musicianship,
songwriting, hit records, performance, the whole 9 yards. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah. Like I'm honestly, tell me, and for you guys that's watching, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Challenge this. You name 60 artists, groups, or whatever in 2025, male, that can fill up a room and throw, that got hit records on the radio. You can't do it because they don't exist.
Find us in the comments. Prove this man wrong.
Sean, you, Boyz II Men, New Edition, Tony Braxton, about to hit the road. Huge show. What is next on the horizon for you guys as a group after this tour?
We're still working on the biopic. That'll come out along with a documentary. Amongst other things. I mean, I can't really say right now, but really exciting stuff.
Might be some new music? Maybe. I said it, not you, technically speaking.
You said it, I didn't. but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And also, again, I'm excited about my own podcast that I have. It's called On That Note.
Yes, great
And
podcast.
Thank you. And just a lot of great guests that are coming up. I had Reginald Hudlin on recently that's going to air later and everything. So who we talked about the Boomerang soundtrack and all that other stuff. And that was amazing. And just a lot of great things in the works that I'm very excited about and I'm grateful for. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on behalf of my group, on behalf of myself. Life is still very good because of you guys. And we really truly appreciate y'all. And we can't wait to see y'all on the road. And it's going to be a fun next couple of years.
Thank you for sharing your artistry and your gift for all these years.
That was fun. Like I enjoyed hearing those vocals like a cappella. That was weird. just to hear the 18-year-old Sean.
It's like a time machine.
Yeah.
Sean, thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, One Song Nation, it's time for one genre. Our friends at Discogs challenged us to do a deep dive into a subgenre and share a few records that we think are essential listening.
That's right, Diallo. Just a reminder, we at One Song use genre as a way to talk about music with shared sensibilities,
right,
but not as a way to rigidly define the music.
We're not fans of rigid.
No.
Not
we like
rigid
porous.
fans.
We like open-minded.
Exactly. Speaking of which, today we're talking about psychedelic hip-hop. And that's not a term I would often use or that you're going to hear people use often. It's definitely more of an academic classification, I think it's safe to say. But to me, this subgenre represents more of the abstract and artsy side of a genre that is usually defined by its realism.
I actually literally never heard the expression until you mentioned it to me. So
and
learning.
I kept seeing it used online and in articles, and I was just like, you know what? I know exactly what they're talking about.
But it makes exactly me too. It makes sense when you hear it.
It's like a conversation starter, more as genre go.
So Diallo, what is your pick for the psychedelic hip hop genre?
Oh man, let me just say, I've been wanting to talk about this group. This is PM Dawn, the Bliss album. That's not their. That's not the whole title is the Bliss album. Vibrations of love and anger and the ponderance of life and existence. So yeah.
That is some deep stuff.
Total mouthful. But I just want to start off by saying, I don't think that and I'm using I was part of the hip hop community when PM Dawn was out. I don't think that we did right by them. We kind of ran them out of town. This group came out of New Jersey, and for a long time, they could not get signed in America because they always kind of wanted to do the PM Dawn thing. They were like, hey, this is who we are. This is how we want to rap. And we also want to sing on our records. And at the time, none of these things were very typical in hip hop.
Okay.
They had to do the Jimi Hendrix thing where they went overseas to get signed.
Famous in
yes.
England.
They got signed overseas, and they happened to sign with a manager who had worked with Spandau Ballet on their hit song True.
That explains the connection?
Yes.
I never knew that's where it came
from. And so their
from.
big hit sampled True, and it was the international hit known as Set Adrift on Memory Bliss. I loved that song at the time, and it's a huge international hit. But they immediately started to bump up against the mainstream underground hip-hop community, for the lack of a better term. In an article in Details magazine, Prince B sort of said, KRS-One claims to be a teacher, but a teacher of what? KRS-One heard that, did not like that, and then famously charged the stage in New York one time when PM Dawn was performing, pushed them off the stage and kicked into The Bridge Is Over. Well, but it's a seminal hip-hop moment.
Yeah, right.
But I think if you take a step back from even that quote and just look at PM Dawn's body of work, there's some amazing songs out there. Like there's a song called Paper Doll. You know, it's got some of the same qualities that I feel like Pet Shop Boys, West End Girls had.
Synthy, yeah.
Yeah, well,
synthesizers.
It's synthesizers, but it's also like, you know, there's like some break beats that sort of like serve as the drums.
A little bit, but I was going to say like they actually, it's sort of more of, it doesn't have a lot of syncopated, funky beats and hard drums. It's sort of softened. It's more kind of house music a little bit.
There's definitely sort of like a Balearic house sound in here that you're going to find on like early Paul Oakenfold production. Like the Happy Mondays, Pills, Thrills, and Bellyaches, which I always say is one of my favorite sort of Manchester, you know, creations of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something very sort of British about their approach to their music, but these are like two black guys from New Jersey who definitely saw themselves as a kind of hip hop, and they didn't really ever get the chance to shine. I went on Discogs because I was like, I think they have some more songs that I really love. Again, I found this one and purchased this one because it was a special edition orange vinyl, which I cannot wait to, play because I'm still a sucker for like some colorful vinyl.
It's going to sound better because it's orange.
It's going to sound great. Looking Through Patient Eyes is on here. That's a great song. It also has probably my favorite song of theirs outside of Paper Doll, which is I Die Without You. This was the song that was on the Boomerang soundtrack. It's a slow jam. There's no rapping to be found on it, but anybody who knows that soundtrack or that scene or that song, I Die Without You, it's just a beautiful R&B song. It's an R&B song that gets name-checked by a lot of R&B producers from that period. It's just a beautiful song. So I think the timing has a lot to do with everything. I feel like PM Dawn is one of those groups that if they came out today, they'd be unquestionably, they would be mentioned in the same breath stylistically as like a Tyler or a Donald Glover, like somebody who gets to be hip-hop, but like very different kind of hip-hop. But that wasn't so much a thing back then, and so they kind of suffered from when they came out. And Prince B unfortunately died. So you're not going to get much more PM Dawn material. But between I Die Without You, Paper Doll, and of course their big hit, Set Adrift on Memory Bliss, go out, give them another listen. I think you'll be shocked at how well some of their material has aged. And with that, I'm going to pass the Discog slip mat to my brother LUXXURY. LUXXURY, what's your selection for this genre?
My Discog's subgenre selection of the week is, in the same vein, the psychedelic hip-hop vein, De La Soul's seminal first record, 3 Feet High and Rising.
Yes, classic.
I actually own the original on vinyl.
There you go.
I need to go look up on Discogs how valuable this is, but I won't do it in the room because I'm worried that I will leave the room without it. Someone in this room is going to take it. But I did, by contrast, get their third record, Balloon A. How do you pronounce this?
Balloon Mind State. They just spelled it weird, but can I just say...
Balloon Mind State.
Balloon Mind State. This might be my favorite record by them. I know this album inside, back, front, forward, all that stuff. It's just like, it's a fantastic, fantastic record. It has some of my absolute favorite songs by them.
I was excited to finally get it on vinyl. And when I bought it on vinyl, I got a new copy, which means that I didn't get the entirety of the original version because in order for it to exist in the world, they had to do a lot of complicated sample and interpolation clearance.
Oh, no, it's one of those.
And they didn't get every single intro or skit. And in fact, a song or two was even dropped from this
Do you know which ones were dropped?
Listen, I had a lot of fun going on to Discogs because of all the credits, too. Yeah. There's all kinds of like differences. A song may or may not have the exact same sound in it. You're like, wait a second, that wasn't in the original because that section of it, that one sample out of many was interpolated.
Oh, trust me, when I buy these things on iTunes and I listen to them, I'm like, this sounds different.
Yeah. So you can see, for example, In Focus contains excerpts from Nothing Is the Same, contains excerpts from, there's all these kind of credits, very specific credits, which are, that's a fun, rabbit hole. If you're a fan of De La Soul, buy the new version or just listen to it on Spotify and do a 1-to-1 comparison.
Can I see the vinyl?
Take it.
Real quick. Let me just take a quick look.
I will pass the vinyl to you.
Oh my gosh, yes, this is a much shorter album.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple on here. Long Island Wilding with the Japanese rappers. Yeah. I'm missing that. I'm missing Dave Has a Problem. Seriously.
This is just how it works in the world these days.
Yeah, we just got to go out and find that original pressing because there's so many songs on here. I mean, Eye Patch, I Be Blowing, I Am I Be, In the Woods, Break of Dawn. Oh my gosh, is it okay if I hold on to this for a second, bro?
Sure, touch it.
It's mine now.
I was worried about this one getting stolen. I was worried about the wrong one.
Mind State and Stakes is High. Those were my.
Listen, I don't know what makes these psychedelic to you, but to me, I think some of the eclectic sampling, especially on 3 Feet High and Rising, the fact that we are going from such a wide range of sources, from Johnny Cash to TV shows and game show kind of, like the eclectic mix of sounds and ideas is, especially in 1989 when this record comes out.
Also just the use of daisies and flowers and all that
visuals,
stuff. 100%. And the funny thing about De La, they talk about this now because they have a new album out. Shout out to De La and Posdnuos. Yeah, I mean, like if you look at that, it's kind of got like the paisleys and the daisies. They said that, look, we were guys who wanted to do hip hop on our own terms and make this album, but then we sort of got labeled as like the hippies of hip hop, which we didn't like. So we made sure that all future albums were a little bit more hip hop, a little bit more street, because they saw how differently, because they didn't quite go so far down the psychedelic road, how differently A Tribe Called Quest was treated by guys on the streets. You know what I mean? Like, and so they said that they sort of wanted to get away from getting sort of pigeonholed as like the hippies of
Interesting.
the movement.
So it's a short-lived phenomenon, or were there artists that come after this
think,
early 90s era that might be still considered psychedelic hip-hop?
I think it's easy to make the case that
Dr. Octagon, what about him?
Dr. Octagon, I'd make the case that Kid Cudi, with all of his sort of like spacey stuff in like 2007, 2008, is his own form of a modernization of being a psychedelic rapper. Okay. Again, it's not that anybody wants to be labeled or pigeonholed rigidly as a psychedelic rapper, but I think anytime you sort of step out of the sort of, Tupac or Biggie, like I'm describing what's going on in the streets, and you're like, I want to talk about my place as a living being on a small rock in an infinite universe, well, there's always going to be a little bit of pushback to that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to be the nerd when everybody else is kind of posturing.
And also after a certain point, all of the genres and subgenres become, especially in this moment, more choices you can make kind of song to song. Yeah. And you can kind of piece together, on my record, I want to have a song that's a funk song into a song that's a psychedelic hip hop song. Yeah. And maybe my visuals will sort of allude to something completely different.
And they're sampling the Turtles. They were sampling groups from,
60s.
The psychedelic 60s. So I think that there was it's such 3 Feet, absolute classic album.
Impeccable record.
So those are our one genre picks. Check out our list on Discogs.com.
And we know there are so many more psychedelic hip-hop gems out there. Please let us know some of your favorites in the comments.
Hit us up. Please do. As always, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me on Instagram at Diallo, Diallo, and on TikTok at Diallo.
And you can find me on Instagram at LUXXURY and on TikTok at LuxuryXX.
And you can follow our podcast on Instagram and TikTok at One Song Podcast for exclusive content. You can also watch full episodes of One Song on YouTube and Spotify. Just search for One Song Podcast. We'd love it if you'd like and subscribe.
Also be sure to check out the One Song Spotify playlist for all the songs we discuss in our episodes. You can find the link in our episode description.
That's right. And if you made it this far, you're officially part of the One Song Nation. Show us some love, give us 5 stars, leave a review, and send this episode to a fellow music nerd. It really helps keep the show going. All right, Luxury, help me in this thing.
I'm producer, DJ, songwriter, musicologist, and KCRW DJ every Friday night from 10 to midnight, Luxury.
And I'm actor, writer, director, and sometimes DJ Diallo Riddle.
And this is One Song. We will see you next time.
This episode was produced by Melissa Duenas. Our video editor is Casey Simonson. Our associate producer is Jeremy Bimbo. Mixing by Michael Hardman. Engineering by Eric Hicks. Production supervision by Razak Boykin. Additional production support from Z Taylor. This show is executive produced by Kevin Hart, Mike Stein, Brian Smiley, Eric Eddings, Eric Weil, and Leslie Guam.